Samadhi laying ceremony for His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So unless we are very clear about how we are not Vaishnava, it is very difficult to understand who is a Vaishnava. Because if I am not a Vaishnava and I think I am a Vaishnava, then my conception of Vaishnava is wrong. Then how can I understand and appreciate a real Vaishnava? Isn't it? You follow? You don't follow? You follow or yes? Yes. So, because it is the nature of the Vaishnava to always compare himself with those who are better placed and think, I am not a Vaishnava. And who is the best of all the Vaishnavas? Srimati Radharani. And Krishna and Radharani combined is Lord Chaitanya, and he is the epitome of perfect Vaishnava. So, the advantage of the Vaishnava is, as they say, that he can give us Krishna, because we don't have the strength to simply chant alone Krishna. So we are Goshti Anandi, and Goshti Anandi means we try to cultivate our Krishna consciousness in Goshti, not alone. In Goshti, to get together and to practice Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada set up Krishna consciousness. And Gopal Krishna Maharaj has the great fortune to have increased the Goshti Anandi Samuha of Krishna consciousness, because he inspired many devotees to develop many temples. And therefore, he has been very kind to the fallen souls of Kali Yuga, and for generations and generations people will try to get the benefit of that kindness, because the temples will be there and people will come and they'll come in touch with the Krishna consciousness movement. That is a very rare thing. And of course, after coming into Krishna consciousness movement, one has to also practice it properly. And he was also helpful in guiding so many people to practice Krishna consciousness better and better. And the material life is always going to come to an end. And Srila Prabhupada, before he took Samadhi, he was in Vrindavan. One disciple was looking at him, and Prabhupada said, "Do not think this will not happen to you." So we all have to go, and our aim is to prepare for that journey properly. And we cannot do that on our own. And therefore, we are actually very much craving for the mercy of the pure devotee, who can help us to leave the body in the proper way and go back to Krishna. So, Gopal Krishna Maharaj has spent his entire life in, or a good part of it, once he came in touch with Krishna consciousness in Canada long time ago. He's practiced Krishna consciousness all his life, and we must take inspiration from his life and prepare so that we can also go properly. I can go any moment now. So I have to be prepared, and we all have to be prepared. So on this holy and auspicious day, Srila Prabhupada said, in living, the devotee is performing Krishna consciousness, and in leaving this body, he continues to perform Krishna consciousness. So there is no difference. Srila Prabhupada was in Mayapur when he said that. He said, we are in Mayapur here, and if we die, we will be again in Mayapur. So that's a very unique position, and we must aspire to at least desire that. So on this holy day of the Samadhi laying ceremony of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, we pray that we follow his example and we also make our life perfect. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Today we will read from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? Hemagiri is here, correct? We read from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Reading from the Adi-Lila, chapter 3, the external reasons for Lord Chaitanya's appearance. No. थोड़ा वो बंद कर रहा, और थोड़ा बस अभी आवाज बराबर आ रहा है. So, reading from Adi-Lila, chapter 3, the external reasons for Lord Chaitanya's appearance, from text 13, correct? Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. यथा इष्टे विहारी कृष्ण करे अंतर्दाना करी मने करे अनुमाना. यथा इष्टे विहारी कृष्ण करे अंतर्दाना करी मने करे अनुमाने. यथेष्टा विहारी कृष्ण करे अंतर्दाना करी मने करी अनुमाना. Yata ishte, as much as he wishes. Vihari, enjoying. Krishna, Lord Krishna. Kare, makes. Antardana, disappearance. Antardana kari, disappearing. Mane, in the mind. Kare, he makes. Anumana, consideration. Translation. Lord Krishna enjoys his transcendental pastimes as long as he wishes, and then he disappears. After disappearing, however, he thinks thus, Chirakalena hi kare prema bhakti dana, bhakti vina jagatera nahi avasthana. For a long time, I have not bestowed unalloyed devotional loving service to me upon the inhabitants of the world. Without such loving attachment, the existence of the material world is useless. Sakala jagate mora kare vidhi bhaktya brajabhava patite nahi shakti. Everywhere in the world, people worship me according to scriptural injunctions. But simply by following such regulative principles, one cannot attain the loving sentiments of the devotees of Brajabhumi. See? So, it's said here, Chirakala nahi kari prema bhakti dana. Same thing is also there earlier in the Bhagavatam. That for a long time this has not been bestowed. That is this Sankirtana movement, unalloyed devotional service to Krishna. So there are three paramparas, three margas rather. There are many paramparas in each. In Vaishnava we have 5 paramparas. So the marga, 2 margas are there, 3 margas really, that the religious people follow. One is the Vaidika marga, generally followed by non-Vaishnava Brahmanas and those who follow them. So that is what is usually called Vedic civilization. Most of the Hindus, they follow the Vedic civilization. They are very interested in Vedas and the rules and regulations, and the sages who followed the rules and regulations. But they do not know that the purpose of the Vedas is to come to the service of the Supreme Lord. Vedaischa sarvai rahameva vedyo. Their purpose is generally to get impersonal liberation or mukti. Then there is the Vaishnava path, which is called, do you know what is that path? Vaishnava? What is the name? Huh? Huh? I can't hear. Takes away from Radharani. No. The main Vaishnava parampara, what is it called? It's called Pancharatrika Marga. So there is Vaidika Marga, and that is for liberation. Then there is Pancharatrika Marga, and that is also Bhagavat Marga, but it follows deity worship. And it is a long established method of Vaishnava. So you will see all the temples and all are there, and the process of bhakti that flows from that. And that here Lord Krishna says is good enough to go to Vaikuntha. And their goal is also to go to Vaikuntha. Then there is a third Bhagavata Marga. What is that? It is called the Sankirtana Marga. And that was inaugurated by Lord Chaitanya. And that is not given for a long time, many, many lifetimes of Brahma. So this process actually is the process of Sankirtana Marga, which is never bestowed in the material world, because it gives everybody an opportunity to know God in the highest and most intimate form in Brajabhumi. So it is called the process of Krishna consciousness. And in Vaikuntha, there is great respect for Krishna as Narayana. And so in Vaikuntha, the bhava that is predominating is called Aishwarya bhava. The Lord is incomparably opulent and is the Supreme Lord, and everybody is his servant. So there is awe and veneration. So Aishwarya Jnanaite Swabha Jagat Mishrita Aishwarya Stila Preme Nahi Mora Prita. Knowing my opulences, the whole world looks upon me with awe and veneration. But devotion made feeble by such reverence does not attract me. So Krishna is saying, isn't it, that I am not really attracted. Why? So we have to know what an extraordinary opportunity is given to us. And in Lord Chaitanya's movement, he is called Mahapatita Pavan. So in the beginning, he gives chance for all the most fallen to take up this process. You following? Behind. Most falleners. So we must know, of course, if highly advanced devotees came, then what we will do? We cannot even, be outside servants for them. And such devotees are going to come in the next 100 years, 200, 500 years, 1,000 years. They are going to come. It is said in the Bhagavatam that the demigods are lining up, residents of the higher planets, saying, this is the time to go back to earth and be born. What are we doing here, enjoying the... Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai, Shri Shri RadhaRasbihari ki Jai, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman ki Jai. So they are actually thinking that we should come to earth and be born in Lord Chaitanya's movement. So you can imagine when such great denizens come to the earth, how much they will follow and how much they will understand Siddhanta and how much they will preach. So it's going to happen. But then we will not get a chance to preach and become devotees. So we should know that we are very ordinary and we are getting a chance to actually do this Krishna consciousness. And we have to be very careful, we have to understand. In any case, so the Aishwarya worship of Vaikuntha, the same Lord, I have given the example before, Prabhupada has given, the same Lord, you see, just like if you see the Prime Minister of the country in his office, so he's a Prime Minister. But in the evening, if he goes to the tennis club and plays tennis, then he's your friend who is playing tennis. But if he goes home, then he's with his children and all that, then he is very father. Then when he is alone with his wife, then that is the most intimate. So Madhurya Bhav is the most intimate way of connecting with Krishna, and Vaikuntha is like seeing the Lord in the office. Lord Rama is like seeing the Lord in the tennis club, more close than when you go to, Nilachal, other places, Dwaraka. It's like, the Lord's family. And then Brajabhumi, that's Madhurya Bhava. Krishna and his girlfriends. And everybody is serving them. So, if suppose people come to the office and see the Prime Minister and say, "Good morning, sir, how are you?" It's expected. He likes that. There are formal relationships. The Lord deals, that's nice. But suppose his children come and say, "Good morning, sir." His wife comes and says, "Good morning, sir." Say, what is this good morning? No, you're Prime Minister. So, that's for others, not for you. So, those who really can love Krishna personally, so they do not and cannot approach the Lord in Aishwarya. And Krishna likes that. That is the most intimate form of relationship. This is very difficult to understand. We should not think it's very casually. It is not. Actually, it is a spontaneous way of relating to Krishna. And we are far from Vaikuntha platform, far from Ayodhya platform, far from Dwaraka platform, far from Nilachal. What to speak of Goloka platform? So we are given an opportunity, however, to directly cultivate. Normally, one must first, in the Vaishnava process, one must become free from material entanglement, isn't it? Asat Sangatyagi, we have to become, and then slowly you practice, and you go up and up and up. But Srila Prabhupada said the process of Krishna consciousness bypasses all these attempts to solve material problems, to get liberation, to get bhakti. It directly takes you to the platform of prema, which is in the Goloka. So Prabhupada said you can go staircase one step by one step, but if you take a lift, you go straight. So, but if you don't get into the lift, or you get into the lift and you don't press the button, or you press the button, you get off into some other floor, then it's a waste. And all that is possible. You hear. Later on you can write whatever you remember. Hearing is more important than writing. So this Krishna, we have to constantly meditate, constantly think, I do not know what is this great benediction, but I've taken it up, I should understand it better. So Krishna is explaining here that knowing my opulences, the whole world looks upon me with honor and veneration. Even the non-devotees, who are the atheists, they look at the universe with awe and veneration. They are thinking, wow, where does this world come from? They also want to understand. They may have an atheistic way of looking, but awe and veneration is there for them also. You see? But devotion made feeble by such reverence does not attract me. That means devotion is not tinged by reverence. A relationship. Boss is okay, but if you are in a relationship with somebody, you are his son, or you are his wife, or something like that, then that is not tinged by veneration. You see? So, Aishwarya jane vidhi bhajana kariya, Vaikuntha ke aya chaturvida muktipana. By performing such regulated devotional service on awe and veneration, one may go to Vaikuntha and attain the 4 kinds of liberation. So even the atheistic class of people, they have awe and veneration, so that's the beginning of bhakti. And once, by great process after millions and billions of lifetimes, they may also come to the platform of worshipping the Lord personally in awe and veneration, not merely His creation. And then they get 4 kinds of liberation. What are these liberations? Sarishti, Sarupya, Arasamipya, Salokya, Sayujya, Nalaya, Bhaktayare, Brahmaikya. These liberations are Sarishti, achieving opulence equal to those of the Lord, Sarupya, having the same form of the Lord, Samipya, living as a personal associate of the Lord, and Salokya, living on the Vaikuntha planet. Devotees never accept Sayujya, however, that is oneness with the Brahman. So, Sarupya means same form as the Lord, 400 form. You see Vishnu Dutas are having Sarupya. Samipya, so Bahut Paas mein. Then Salokya, live in the same Vaikuntha planets, are all different levels. So everybody in Vaikuntha is not in the same level. So in the same planet Vaikuntha, there are people who have got Sarupya, same form as the Lord, and associating with Him. Then there are Samipya, those who may not have the same form, 400 form, but they are close by, always Lord, seeing the Lord, doing things. And then, Samipya is, Sarupya, Samipya, then, what is that? Samipya was there, Salokya, Sarupya. Sarishti, that is even, Sarishti is full in opulences like the Lord. Then Sarupya having the same form, they are in the Vaikuntha planet. Then Samipya, they are close by. And then Salokya, they live in the same Vaikuntha planet. They may not always see the Lord, but they have different services and they do. Just like in the king's palace, there are those who are intimately with the king. Then there are those who are actually his executive associates, the minister and the commander of force and this and that and all of that. Then there comes actually those who are in the quarters of the king and the queen and serving. Then there are those in the palace generally serving who see the Lord coming and going. They are also there. So in Vaikuntha there are the 4 kinds of liberation are there. And they can also progress from one to other. But this 5th kind of liberation, Sayujya, that is becoming one with the Lord, they don't accept that. Purport: those engaged in devotional service according to the ritualistic principles mentioned in the scriptures attain these different kinds of liberation. So we should not think these are all different kinds of liberation that are same. They are all of different quality. So we should know that we cannot simply assume that everybody, we are all devotees. Everything depends on the actual quality of our love for Krishna. But although such devotees can attain Sarishti, Sarupya, Samipya and Salokya, they are not concerned with these liberations. For such devotees are satisfied only in rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord. So obviously, liberation is like being outside the prison. So if you are working in the palace, you are obviously outside the prison, but they are not here to get out of the prison. They are here. Bad smell is coming, isn't it? Fish smell. I think they are putting it outside. So, they are there in the palace to only serve the Supreme Lord. The 5th kind of liberation, Sayujya, which is simply to get out of the prison, material world, and not to go to the city, is never accepted even by devotees who perform only ritualistic worship. To attain Sayujya or emerging into the Brahman effulgence of the Supreme Personality of God, the impulse cares for Sayujya liberation. So the Vedic Marga people, they follow Sayujya path, liberation. But the Bhagavata Marga people who follow Pancharatrika, they want to serve the Lord, but in awe and veneration, because they obviously appreciate the Lord. Ah, wonderful. But here he says, Yuga Dharma Parivartimu Nama Sankirtana Shari Bhava Bhaktadiya Nachomu Bhuvana. I shall personally inaugurate the religion of the age, Nama Sankirtana, the congregational chanting of the holy name. I shall make the world dance in ecstasy, realizing the four mellows of loving devotional service. So then he decided, the Lord, this is the external reasons for coming. One of them is that I have come so many times, and whether I come or not, anyway people are relating to me in awe and reverence. If you don't know God, then at least the whole creation looks amazing. And when there is thunder in the night, people, oh wow, what is that? And then there is suddenly lightning in the sky, going from earth to sky. Sometimes 3 miles, 4 miles long lightning is there. Very amazing. And sometimes thunderstorms come. It's incredible. And sometimes you go into a forest where you cannot see even just 1 inch in front of you. And there are, terrible animals and this and that. Wow, how did this forest go? Because we cannot. Or you go near the ocean. It's amazingly. There are people who have never seen an ocean. Isn't it? We are living in Bombay city, daily seeing the ocean. But there are people who have never seen the ocean. So this awe and veneration is there, that then goes up to Vaikuntha platform. And Krishna says that all that is going on, that's fine. But I shall now give them the process of chanting my name, by which above these 4 kinds of liberation, Sarishti, Sarupya, Samipya and Salokya, we can actually, they will get to platform of the 4 kinds of mellows, Shanta Bhav, Rasya Bhav, Sakya Bhav, Vatsalya Bhav. And then there's, of course, there's a 5th. I shall accept apane karimu bhakato bhava angikare apani achari bhakti shikhamu sabare. I shall accept the role of a devotee and I shall teach devotional service by preaching it myself, by practicing it myself. So if the Supreme Lord himself can actually get pleasure by practicing bhakti, then what to speak of us? Then he says, what is your problem? Take it up. When one associates with a pure devotee, he becomes so elevated that he does not aspire even for Sarishti, Sarupya, Samipya and Salokya, because he feels that such liberation is a kind of sense gratification. Pure devotees do not ask for anything from the Lord for their personal benefit. Even if offered personal benefits, the pure devotees do not accept them, because their only desire is to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by transcendental loving service. No one but the Lord himself can teach this highest form of devotional service. Therefore, when the Lord took the place of the incarnation of Kali Yuga to spread the glories of chanting Hare Krishna, the system of worship recommended in this age, he also distributed the process of devotional service performed on the platform of transcendental spontaneous love. To teach the highest principles of spiritual life, the Lord himself appeared as a devotee in the form of Lord Chaitanya. You see? Because this highest knowledge cannot be taught by anybody other than Krishna. Only he knows. So in the Bhagavad-gita, he gives a little clue to that. He says, Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vidyo. Of all the Vedas, I am to be known. But then why is it that people are not talking about Krishna? They are talking about Vedas, they are talking about yajnas, they are talking about liberation. They are even talking about demigod, they are talking about even Narayana, but Vishnu. Nobody is talking about Krishna. Why? Because Vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. He says that I am actually compiler of the Vedas, and I am its knower. That's like if a scientist, big scientist, say Einstein creates the theory of relativity, he is the original knower of the theory. Otherwise, how could he have created it? So Krishna not only says that I should be known, but he says, but only person who knows the Vedas is me. So even though ultimately the Vedas is coming in so many levels, many Hindus think the Vedas came from the sages. They think that the sages actually meditated and by their power and they found all this. And that is one level of thinking. Then there are those who think that the Vedas are coming from Brahma. It's called Veda Garbha. Then there are those who think that the Vedas are coming from Lord Shiva. When he plays his Damaru, or Ganesh when he plays his Mridanga, the Vedic mantras are coming. That idea is there in Hinduism. Everything is there. Then there are those who understand that Narayana's breathing, from which the millions or trillions of universes are coming, that is also the source of the Vedas. That's also true. But ultimately, the Vedas are coming from Krishna. And only Krishna knows the actual purpose of the Vedas. So imagine how great is Krishna worship. Therefore, because Krishna is the only knower of Vedas, and because by Vedas Krishna is to be known, so who can preach Krishna consciousness? Only Krishna. Therefore, Prabhupada writes in the purport, see how much he knows that although, the sloka is only saying that I will come and preach, but Krishna is saying in the purport that only Krishna can teach this. Where does he say that? No one but the Lord himself can teach this highest form of devotional service. You cannot write this in the purport unless you really understand everything. But once he writes, we can kind of meditate and then try to understand. That's how important Prabhupada's purports are. No one but the Lord himself can teach the highest form of devotional service. Therefore, when the Lord took the place of incarnation of Kali Yuga, he appeared as a devotee in the form of Apane na kaile dharma shikana na yai eta siddhanta Gita Bhagavate Gaya. Unless one practices devotional service himself, he cannot teach it to others. This conclusion is indeed confirmed throughout the Gita and Bhagavatam. So logical, so fantastic. Chaitanya Charitamrita is giving the logic. Are you following the logic? The logic is that Krishna is to be known by all Vedic literatures, and only Krishna knows Vedic literatures. Therefore, only Krishna can preach. But even Krishna, he came and spoke Bhagavad-gita and all that, nobody followed. Because unless you practice, Krishna says, you cannot preach. Isn't it? So if parents try to actually make their children Krishna conscious, but it depends on how much they are Krishna conscious. If you have 1,000 rupees, you cannot give 1,000,000 rupees to somebody, can you? You can only give what you have. Therefore, the Lord says that I have to practice it myself. And that is Lord Chaitanya. So logically it's coming. So the reason for Lord Chaitanya's coming is because Krishna is the only person to be known by the Vedic knowledge, and Krishna is the only knower of the Vedas. Therefore, Krishna himself has to come to preach, but he has to come as a practitioner of bhakti. So when Krishna came as the Supreme Lord and spoke the Bhagavad-gita, still nothing happened. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata advityanam adharmasya tad atmanam sajamyaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and the predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsabanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. And there are people who think that, this when we worship the form of Krishna and or any other form of Krishna, Narayana, Ramachandra and all that. They think it's all imaginary. And if you say why it is imaginary, they'll say God cannot come to the material world. They put condition on the God. God cannot come to the material world. He is spirit, they say. But to deny that, Krishna says, I'm coming. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkritam. So that verse and the verse Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata is meant so you can use it in preaching and to tell people, no, you are wrong, because Krishna has said that he comes. If Krishna is never going to come, he will also tell you, because he has also said things like, you cannot know me. Naham sarvesya prakasha yoga maya samavritaha. If God is there, why is not able to, everybody is not seeing? He says, not everybody can see me because I'm covered by my yoga maya for those who don't like me. So everything is there. Utsidayir ime loke na kuryam karma chetaham sankarasya cha kartasyam upanyaham ima praja. But all of these are only still external reasons, but still, if I did not show the proper principles of religion, all these worlds would fall into ruin. I would be the cause of unwanted population and would spoil all those living beings. This is all there in the Bhagavad-gita. Text 324. Whatever and 21, 321. Whatever actions a great man performs, common men people follow. And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world follows. Yuga dharma parivartana haye amsahaite ami bina anye nare braja prema dite. My plenary portions can establish the principles of religion for each age. No one but me, however, can bestow the kind of loving service performed by the residents of Braj. So even Bhagavad-gita is spoken by, it is said, Krishna in the, Narayana form, the king of Dwaraka, like that. But the Brajabhumi service, Krishna says, only I can give. Santvavatara Bahava Pankaja Nabhasya Sarvato Bhadra Krishna Danyako Va Latase Api Premado Bhavati. There may be many all auspicious incarnations of the personality of Godhead, but who other than the Lord Sri Krishna can bestow love of God upon the surrendered souls? So this love of God, it transcends maryada, veneration. This we have to spend our life, every moment, trying to understand this love of Godhead, because if we don't understand it, we cannot attain it. So, this quotation from the writings of Bilmal Mangala Thakur, found in Lagu Bhagavatamrita. Tahate apana bhakta gana kari sange prithivite avatari korimu nana range. Therefore, in the company of my devotees, I shall appear on earth and perform various colorful pastimes. Thinking thus, Eta bhavi kalikale pratama sandhyaya avatirna haila Krishna apani nadiyaya. Thinking thus, the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna himself descended at Nadiya early in the age of Kali. The Pratama Sandhya is the beginning of the age. According to astronomical calculations, the age is divided into 12 parts. The first of these divisions is known as Pratama Sandhya. The Pratama Sandhya and Sesha Sandhya, the last division of the preceding age, form the junction of the two ages. According to Surya Siddhanta, the Pratama Sandhya of Kali Yuga lasts 36,000 years. Lord Chaitanya appeared in the Pratama Sandhya after 4,586 solar years of Kali Yuga had passed. So, the Prabhupada is saying here, I didn't know this, according to astronomical calculations, the Yuga is divided into 12 parts every Yuga. So one is Prathama Sandhya, then the another is given Sesha Sandhya. In between what are there, I don't know. You can all then go to the ashram and Google and find out what are the 12 Sandhyas in the Yuga. And the Prathama Sandhya of Kali Yuga lasts 36,000 solar years. And that's a little more than 10%, because Kali Yuga totally is 420,000 years. So if 10% is 42,000, is less than 10%, 36,000 years. And Lord Chaitanya appeared in the Prathama Sandhya after 4,586 years, and his movement will go for 10,000 years. So the movement will start and end within Prathama Sandhya. We'll read one more verse. Chaitanya Simmera Navadvipe Avatara Simmagriva Simmavirya Simmera Hunkara. Thus the lion like Lord Chaitanya appeared in Navadvipa. He has the shoulders of a lion, the powers of a lion, and the and the loud voice of a lion. Any questions or comments? Now Bhajigaya. People ask questions after the class, that's not so good. Better to ask question in the class, because everybody will benefit. Yeah?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, foremost, thank you very much. I want to express my appreciation for so much clarity, so many across classes.
What is that?
I want to express my appreciation for so much clarity and understanding. Prabhu, I don't know if my question is proper, but we spoke about different kinds of liberation. But any kind of liberation by itself would again be a very high standard, right? So
Yeah.
my question is that internal state that goes behind liberation.
Your question is that?
That internal state, an individual's internal state, let's say you have to be free from duality, discrimination, there may be so many things. Is that a precondition for starting devotional service, or is that an outcome of devotional service, that state, internal state?
Not clear. Anybody knows what? Internal state. Is the outcome of?
Is that a
Both.
precondition?
It is both. Actually, this is where actually the proper understanding of bhakti begins, especially prema bhakti. इसको थोड़ा आगे ले जाना और थोड़ा So, it's a very, very important point. This is like, what came first? Chicken came first or egg came first? Is this because you have bhakti, you perform devotional service? Or because you perform devotional service, you get bhakti? Right? That was your question. Yeah?
Basically, whether that internal state is...
That's your question, yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
That's all. So, this internal state in the beginning may be present without your knowledge. That is called Agyata Sukriti. Agyata Sukriti. Agyata Sukriti is that you perform good activities without knowing, because Krishna takes them to be bhakti. Otherwise, there can be no bhakti in the material world. I've given the example that somebody goes to a new city He's a drunkard and he's trying to find where is the bar, and he's going round and round in that area. But unknown to him, there is a temple there. So Krishna says, oh, he's doing parikrama, although he's going looking for a bar. That is Krishna's mercy. So that is called Ajnata Sukriti. In Padma Purana, there is a story of a mouse who got into the altar and he was running here and there doing mischief, and his tail got caught, and then he was just jumping up and down, and Krishna said that, oh, he is doing arati for me. And then when he died, he went to wherever the altar over was Krishna's place, then he went to Goloka. Of course, such a mouse is very, very advanced. That's not his first life in bhakti. But generally, Ajnata Sukriti, we perform in so many ways. Sometimes you may, take prasadam without knowing it's prasadam or without really caring for it. So many ways is there, isn't it? Sometimes people may be doing kirtan and you may just stop to see, kya kar rahe log? Buddhu log kya kar rahe hain? But he has listened and he goes. Prabhupada said, even if somebody is saying, Hare Krishna movement hai, kya hai, bakwas, still he is getting benefit because he said Hare Krishna movement. And Namacharya is saying there is Nama Bas, even if Ha and Re and Ra and Ma are separated by other words, right? Still that Rama connection will be considered as chanting the holy name. Isn't it? It's like that. If somebody says, Ratri Ma Karo, to something. So Ratri has got Ra, Ma Karo, Ma is there, Rama, is chanted Rama's name. They may be speaking. There is an airport in Chicago called O'Hare Airport, O'Hare. Some people may say O'Hare Airport, O'Hare Airport. Namabhas will be there. So in this way, Krishna is facilitating the soul to do bhakti without knowing, without caring. All that is adding to the so-called internal state. So bhakti is coming. Because the relationship between the soul and Krishna is so deep, so eternal. So then there comes the attraction to various forms of religion. I'm Hindu, I'm Muslim, I'm Christian, I'm this and I'm that. Then you are born actually in Vedic samskaras, and you take it up. And then you go through the process in the Varnashrama Dharma up, and even in Brahmins there are so many types of Brahmins, isn't it? So there is a Brahmana who knows how to perform yajnas. There's a Brahmana who knows how to chant the Vedas. And there is a Brahmana called Vipra who knows the meaning of the Vedas. Like that, the Brahmanas also, there are so many levels. So, but this kind of internal state of bhakti is a precondition for bhakti, comes from Ajnata Sukriti. Even when you are following the Vedic path, it's Ajnata because you really don't know Krishna. But ultimately, that brings one to, that makes one to react properly when one comes in touch with the pure devotee. That is when actually the seed of bhakti is planted in the heart. That is different from all these things. So it's not a simple thing, everything is required. It's not one or the other. Is it clear? Yes? Inko dena. Anybody else had among the Mataji's question? Okay, we'll come back to you.
Yes. Actually, I want to understand exactly what is meant by mukti and what is meant by moksha. are there,
What is that?
what is meant by mukti and what is meant by moksha?
More or less the same.
Both are same. Cessation from the materialistic.
Mukti is simply liberation from the material existence, is impersonal. But of course, going to Vaikuntha is also moksha, mukti, but they don't think like that. But already is explained in one of the purports. Prabhupada says, we read. And I explained also that if you are in the palace, you are outside the prison. But you are not in the palace to get out of the prison. So that getting out, Prabhupada explains that liberation is the process of putting an end to material misery. A devotee never takes up the path because of trying to overcome material problems. Okay, he may have material problems and that make him come to the temple and all, but when he takes it up, it's because of love for Krishna. That is the point. By mukti, we mean the desire to put an end to material suffering only. But by bhakti, we mean the desire to love the Lord. And bhukti is the desire to materially enjoy. So there is bhukti, there is mukti, and there is bhakti. And mukti has got so many names. Nirvana, sunyata, sayujya, Brahman lean. It's all various forms of mukti. But if you understand what is that, it doesn't make a difference whether. Now someone can derive moksha from Sanskrit in a particular way that it applies to Vaikuntha. That's fine. Of course, going to Vaikuntha or Goloka involves mukti or moksha, but that's not the goal. Just like to give a simple example, when you are working in a company, in the beginning, you may be looking for a job that gives best salary and all that. But once you got a job, you are working there not to get salary. If you are working, salary will come. Like that. In the beginning, there may be some idea of trying to get out of material miseries and all in order to perform bhakti. Which is the best? There are so many paths for mukti. But once you take a bhakti, you do it because you want to.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Prabhuji, this mukti can be achieved without any connection with Krishna or devotional service, or
Of course, the answer is obvious. You know that. Prabhupada has written that without a tinge of bhakti, the other processes will not succeed.
so Prabhuji,
But that is not really bhakti. But it's a fact. It's a fact that even a guy who takes up the Vedic process of mukti, he has some degree of love for them. So when they come and they also do service, you don't know. You're going to say something.
yeah, so that tinge means like,
How much?
like, is it he just believes that okay, Krishna is there, or
No. Pinch means it's real bhakti. It's not some Krishna is there, okay, I don't mind, Krishna can be God. No. It is pinch compared to the ocean of bhakti. Anandam Ambudhi Vardhanam. When you compare to the ocean of bhakti that is in the spiritual world, this bhakti is a pinch. That is sufficient to get mukti even. But it's pure. Therefore, they have to be respected. Pure devotee respects everybody because of that. A pinch of salt is same as salt. But it's not a mountain of salt. But it is salt all the same. So a pinch of bhakti is not something like bhakti. It's pure bhakti. So you have to respect them. They have. But it's covered by so many other desires. Which is why we have to be also constantly on the lookout to become pure. We have to also, yesterday I gave a class, I explained what is the difference between doing service under a service authority and serving a guru. They're two totally different things, night and day. All that is, of course, advanced Siddhanta. I'm not speaking here. But you should know the difference between serving under a service authority and serving under a... What is the difference? But anyway, your point is, that's a good question. What is this pinch? They're not cash, they have the deep, and sometimes that deep love for Krishna also reflects with the demigods. So when they love the demigod, they're not ordinary people. They love exactly the same way sometimes we love Krishna, because it's the same love. But it goes for the demigods. Avidhi Purvakam. And of course, in the mundane world also people have that love, because the soul has that pinch of love always. The spark of bhakti is there in the soul. It cannot be devoid of it. So then when that is there, one loves wife, husband, children, right? And then there are people who love dog. Prabhupada said that if you don't love God, you have to love dog. I remember we had one appointment with somebody, some professional. When we were going, that was 1.5 hours drive in America. While going, we got the call that you cannot see him, he has not come to office today. Ta kya ho gaya? His cat died. And the entire family was extremely unhappy. He said, my children are unhappy, they are 7 years old, 3 years old. They are very unhappy, the cat is dead. My wife is also inconsolable. So I can't go to work, I have to be at home. We are all very sad. But the person who took me, who knew him, said, but the same guy, his own mother died 6 months ago. Nobody in the family, bothered that much. So, perverted reflection. So it's a very important question you have asked. You know what I mean? That pinch is pure. Just like in an ocean of salt water, you put a drop of pure milk. That's pure milk, that's gone. And it stays pure because it's transcendental. Are you following what I'm saying? Makes sense? So that's a good question. Good thought for meditation. Yes, one Mataji at the back had a question.
So you said in order to have a personal or independent relationship with Krishna, one must give up on his material life. But what about those who, at least right now, cannot give up upon their material life due to responsibilities or maybe other certain reasons? They cannot have the independent relationship, or if they can, then how?
This is another good question. But it's a standard confusion in people. Sarvadharman paritejya mamekam saranam vraja. Krishna says, give up everything and take shelter of me only. But I have so many objects of love, I have to go to work, I've got my family, I've got my children, right? That's your question. So what's this? People can also practice bhakti, or is it not possible? That's your question, right? But you must understand that giving up, I said you have to give up material association. Asat Sangha, Tyagi. Asat Sangha means the three modes of nature. You haven't got to give up the material world to give it up. We have not given up the material world. We don't sit somewhere, we don't want to speak anybody. We go out. We take taxi, we take train, we get, or if you're temple president, you take a car. I take taxi or auto rickshaw. Then you go, then you go to meet people, isn't it? Yesterday I saw a very big car standing in the front. I said, who is this donor? They said, no, he's so and so, and he was a temple president. Oh, some temple president, so I didn't know. So nowadays we can't tell the difference between temple presidents in ISKCON and donors. That's a separate topic. Right? Hemagiri, correct or wrong? Anyways,
So,
then the point is that giving up material attachment is not same as giving up material world. Prapanchikataya buddhya harisambandhi vastuna mumukshubir parityage falgu vairagyam katyate. It's a very important question. How I am a grahastha, I'm in so many material situations. How can I perform bhakti if the precondition for bhakti is that one should give up material association, right? So the answer is that giving up attachment to matter is not same as giving up matter. That is called yukta vairagya. So Prabhupada showed some, tape recorder and said, is this material or spiritual? Tape recorder is material or spiritual? Material. That's what everybody said. Prabhupada said, no, it depends on how you use it. If you want to hear material Jackson songs, then it's material. I was giving a class for school in America, children. I said this. So if you listen to material Jackson songs, they said, Michael Jackson. They thought I didn't know that his name was Michael Jackson. So I said, oh, I'm very sorry, and it's Michael Jackson. And then I was making some jokes and children were laughing. Then I turned and there was one girl sitting there, 89-year-old girl. And she said, speak about God, don't joke. I said, oh, wow. Here is Shrotu Kaman. Somebody is eager to hear. She said, don't make jokes, speak about God. It's American girl. So if Prabhupada gave the example, knife used by a thief is bad, knife used by a doctor can be good. May not be good, depends on the doctor. But knife used by a good doctor is a good thing. Similarly, in material world, everything when used in Krishna's service is actually, even though you are using in the material world, it's spiritual. Therefore, the beginning of bhakti is yukta vairagya. Vairagya means to give up material world. Yukta vairagya means you give it up by engaging it in Krishna's service. You follow? So if in your house you cook, you're now, you're married, you got children, and you came in touch with Krishna consciousness, say. Now you cannot all say it's all my children are Maya, my husband is Maya. Okay, they may agree the husband is Maya, but children, they may not agree is Maya. And you cannot just run away from the house, that's nonsense. So if you cook every day and offer to Krishna, then even though you are cooking for your family, they're eating prasadam, and therefore you are liberated. Therefore, you are given up. So, slowly, as all your material activities are connected to Krishna under the guidance, then you give up the material attachment without giving up material world. But at some point, you have to give up material world also. You can't just continue like that. The next stage is to give up. That will be easier. You understand? So your job now is to make more and more of your activities connected to Krishna. How to connect that? You need guidance. That you have to ask some devotee.
but sir, so is it fine to be ambitious and wanting to achieve things and achieving them whilst being Krishna conscious?
Is it fine? You spoke too fast.
Is it fine to be ambitious and wanting to achieve things and achieve them whilst being Krishna conscious?
No, that's not Krishna consciousness. That's very poisonous. Prabhupada encouraged book competition, books distribution competition and all that, but that's Prabhupada. He knows people have mentality to compete and he knows how to engage it. But there's nothing to compete in Krishna consciousness. You're a servant of the servant. It's a very high platform to reach. So in the beginning, of course, people have motivation. My name should come first in book distribution marathon at the month end. Daily my name should be said. I should be somebody, I should be a temple commander, I should be this, I should be in temple council, I should be vice president, president, I should be sannyasi. A devotee has nothing to do with these things. It's a poison. But to know that it's poison, it takes long time. So in the beginning, okay, at least do something because you need what to do. But that's not a good thing. Somebody had a question here. Yes, sir.
Hare Krishna. So, Prabhuji, you were mentioning about the Sankirtan Marga, three Marga, Vedic Marga, Sankirtan Marga.
Vaidika Marga,
Bhagavat.
Pancharatrika Marga, and Sankirtana Marga.
Sankirtan.
Sankirtana Marga and Vaidika Pancharatrika Marga are both Bhagavat Marga. So be clear. Vaidika Marga, Bhagavat Marga, and Bhagavat Marga, Pancharatrika Marga and Sankirtana Marga.
So here in one of the verse also it was mentioned that this Sankirtan Marga which was not given long time before. So as we know that there are 4 yugas and 4 processes, Krite Dhyato Vishnu, Dwaparya, Tretayam, Yajatomake, and last Kalotadhari Kirtana. So for Kali Yuga the Sankirtan Marga is there. So why it is said like that it was not given before?
No, it's not in every Kali Yuga Sankirtana Marga is there. People have been chanting Krishna's name before Lord Chaitanya came. Before ISKCON, people were chanting Krishna's name in India, right? Vishnu Sahasranamam Ye Wo. Sankirtana Yajna is not just chanting Krishna's name. Knowing the Siddhanta about Krishna, how Krishna is the source of everything, that knowledge is never given. It's very rare. You understand? Suppose you say E equal to MC squared. That's not a formula. You can teach a child and he can repeat it. But if you know E is energy, M is mass, C is speed of light, then you know it's the equation. Then somebody will say, no, but E equal to MC squared actually is based on the equivalent principle. It is also based on the equivalent of inertial mass and gravitational mass. You don't know such things. So there is unlimited knowledge behind Krishna's name, which is identical to Krishna. So without that, chanting of Hare Krishna is not Mahamantra. Hare Krishna mantra, if it is not coming according to this knowledge of Lord Chaitanya, it's not Mahamantra. In fact, Bhaktisiddhanta says it's a mundane vibration. He said there are also Mayavadis chanting Hare Krishna. It's just a mundane vibration. So Sankirtana Yajna is inaugurated by Lord Chaitanya once in a long time, when Krishna consciousness is given. Are you clear? So it's not merely chanting Hare Krishna, it's not Sankirtana Yajna. Chanting Hare Krishna according to Lord Chaitanya's philosophy, where you give up everything and exist only for Krishna. And giving up everything means first giving up the mind and the body. If you are constantly using your mind and thinking, there's no question of being a devotee. It's all not taught. Once you come inside the temple, this thing should be taught, how to give up the mind. That is, the word mantra means to give up mind. You understand? So have you stopped thinking? No, yes. At least you should say no. Some people will say, yes, I have stopped thinking. Really? No, I thought you said this. Oh, I thought. So it's not so easy to give up the mind. So you need to be trained. For that, you must know more Siddhanta, deeper things than just E equal to MC squared. Are you following? Who is teaching that? So you should know who is the person who knows this, how can I go to him, and how can I get this knowledge. That's the beginning once you come into the temple. Very, very, very important. Right? Any other questions or comments? These are good questions. These are very good questions. Did you become clear about what is Sankirtan Yajna? Sankirtan Yajna is not chanting of Hare Krishna. It is chanting of Hare Krishna, understanding and following Lord Chaitanya's philosophy, which is very, 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 very high and very demanding. Hemagiri, you have any questions or comments? We'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki, Pitay Gaur Premanandi, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj Goswami ki.